ലോകം ആകാംക്ഷയോടെ കാത്തിരുന്ന ആ അസുലഭ നിമിഷങ്ങളാണ് ഈ കാണുന്നത്. മാസങ്ങളുടെ അജ്ഞാതവാസത്തിന് ശേഷം സുനിത വില്യംസിനെയും സംഘത്തെയും വഹിച്ചുകൊണ്ടുള്ള ഡ്രാഗൺ പേടകം ഒരു അരയന്നം പറന്നിറങ്ങുന്നത് പോലെ ഫ്ലോറിഡയുടെ തീരത്തിനടുത്ത് ഓളപ്പരപ്പിലേക്ക്. നീലാകാശത്തിലെ സാന്ദ്രമേഘങ്ങൾ അവർക്ക് സ്വാഗതമോതുകയാണ്.
Dragon Freedom has returned home and NASA astronauts.
System safety verifications are in progress. We'll report back when recovery personnel are en route.
കൃത്യമായ കണക്കുകൾ, കൃത്യമായ സമയം, സുരക്ഷിതമായ ലാൻഡിംഗ്. വരിവരിയായി ശരവേഗത്തിൽ ബോട്ടുകൾ അവരെ സ്വീകരിക്കുന്നതിനായി എത്തുകയാണ്.
We can see those fast boats. We weren't kidding when we said they were fast. While it does take about 30 minutes for the main recovery vessel to make its way over to the capsule, these fast boats will be doing a couple of things simultaneously that is basically working to detect if there are any hypergolic vapors or fumes that are still residing in and or around the Draco thruster nozzles or outlets. The hypergolic fuel, which is necessary for on-orbit burns to maneuver the spacecraft. Unfortunately, those hypergolics are unable to be breathed. They are toxic, and so this team here is doing those initial safety checks to make sure that it is safe for the rest of the recovery team to approach the spacecraft. They're also checking to make sure that any residuals from the
place.
Okay, Freedom, the next call will be from the SpaceX flight surgeon on Dragon to Ground Private.
Understand. Thank you.
Callouts there indicating that the crew will have the opportunity to do a quick check-in with the SpaceX flight surgeon. This is standard procedure for every Dragon spacecraft when it returns to Earth. It's just an initial check-in, make sure everybody is doing okay. They will also have another check-in with the flight surgeon once they are on board that recovery vessel that you see there in the background. We can now see that SpaceX recovery team member there on top of the.
അങ്ങനെ കെട്ടിവലിച്ചുകൊണ്ടുവരികയാണ് പേടകം.
Go ahead, Sandra.
Continuing to get some views of the recovery personnel, both the main recovery vessel Megan, as well as some of those fast boats that we've discussed previously. It looks like just a beautiful day there out off the coast of Tallahassee, Florida. Weather was pristine. We were able to get undocked from the International Space Station.
As we saw there on the screen, we have a couple of fast boats in the recovery fleet that have quickly moved into the splashdown location.
They're now working through procedures to hoist this spacecraft up onto the recovery vessel Megan.
We just saw that hydraulic arm get lowered into the lifting position. That arm will be the mechanism that is utilized to lift Dragon up and out of the water and into the nest located there at the aft end of the recovery vessel.
And the recovery vessel being used today is, as we mentioned multiple times, is named Megan, but that's actually after NASA astronaut Megan McArthur, who flew on
കപ്പലിലേക്ക് പേടകത്തെ കയറ്റുന്ന ദൃശ്യങ്ങളാണ് ഇത്. എല്ലാം കൃത്യതയോടെ നടക്കുന്ന നിമിഷങ്ങൾ ആഹ്ലാദാരവങ്ങളോടെയാണ് വീക്ഷിക്കുന്നത്.
We're getting some views now from actually inside the boat.
Yeah, you're exactly right. This view is straight down the recovery vessel. That platform that was closest to the camera, that is the egress platform.
Freedom, rigging is almost complete. Approximately 5 minutes until capsule lift.
Great news there from SpaceX Core. So about 5 minutes left until we see Dragon Freedom get lifted out of the water. That hydraulic arm, as I said before, is the mechanism that will lift it. It's quite swift, actually, the whole process of getting the spacecraft.
Brace for capsule lift.
Bracing.
There it goes, Dragon Freedom being lifted out of the water and onto our recovery vessel, Megan.
ആഹ്ലാദത്തിന്റെ നിമിഷങ്ങൾ, ശാസ്ത്ര വിജയത്തിന്റെ നിമിഷങ്ങൾ.
So once securely on,
Welcome aboard the recovery vessel. Recovery personnel are completing final checks and stand by for translation to the...
and there you have it. The side hatch is open for the first time since September.
പേടകത്തിന്റെ വാതിൽ തുറന്ന യാത്രികർ പുറത്തേക്ക് ഇറങ്ങുകയാണ്.
Being handed out here in the near future, as I mentioned before. Oh, of course, we got to get a well-documented photo of the moment. Although we can't see it from here, I'm pretty sure there are 4 smiles on board right now.
And we did hear that report out from the commander, Nick Hague, following splashdown that there were four smiles as far as he could see.
Yeah, capsule full of grins.
ഇരുവശത്തും ഇരിക്കുന്നത് സുനിത വില്യംസും ബുച്ച് വിൽമറും.
And there we do see Crew 9.
മധ്യത്തിൽ നിക്ക് ഹേഗും അലക്സാണ്ടർ ഗോർബിനോവും.
Back on. Next up out of the capsule, we expect Roscosmos cosmonaut Alexander Gorbanov. His first space flight. Spent 171 days in space alongside NASA astronaut Nick Hague.
Looks like we're getting some cheers and clapping on board as Alexander is slid down the little ramp and placed into the mobility aid. Once again, big smile.
Now, the 2 crew members remaining in Dragon are NASA astronauts Sunny Williams and Butch Wilmore. They completed 286 days in space.
One of the remaining footrests being removed from the Dragon spacecraft. As I said before, we generally try to have the crew members that are located in the 2 center seats aboard Dragon, and we like to have them egress first if possible, as it creates a little bit more movable working room inside the spacecraft. There is a recovery crew member inside that is helping all of our Crew 9 crew egress or exit from the spacecraft.
We are standing by for the next crew member to egress or exit Crew Dragon Freedom following the splashdown not even an hour ago at 2:57 p.m. Pacific time. really have the recovery operations down pretty quick at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible to think that, just 5 years ago when we were doing the initial demonstration missions of the Dragon for Crew Dragon, that now we're under about 30 minutes for, to retrieve the spacecraft from the water, and just several minutes here while it's been on board, and to get everyone, really to get that side hatch open. For those of you that have just recently joined, the Dragon has
ശാസ്ത്രത്തിന്റെ കുതിപ്പിന്റെയും കിതപ്പിന്റെയും കണക്കുകൂട്ടലുകളുടെയും ജിജ്ഞാസയുടെയും എല്ലാം നിമിഷങ്ങളാണ് ഈ കടന്നുപോയിക്കൊണ്ടിരിക്കുന്നത്. അതെ, മാസങ്ങൾക്ക് ശേഷം സുരക്ഷിതരായി സുനിത വില്യംസും വിൽമോറുമെല്ലാം ഭൂമിയുടെ മടിത്തട്ടിലേക്ക്.
And now as he egresses or exits
ശാസ്ത്രത്തിന്റെ വലിയൊരു വിജയത്തിന് അങ്ങനെ പരിസമാപ്തിയാവുകയാണ്.